Hey, how's it going? This is Josh from Books by Josh, and I would like to welcome you to episode number 22 of the Books by Josh show. This episode was actually inspired by a chat I had with my best friend and my everyday life, and it's titled Enough. So let's dive into this week's topic. Before we actually dive in, I want to say been sitting on this write-up for about 3 weeks, not knowing how it ended. Mind you, the write-up's not ended. It still has no ending at this moment, but because of what happened today, I can talk more about it. So, like always, it's a vague topic, but there's always a reason behind it. So, how many of you just had enough and want to say something? This is what this episode is essentially about. How to say enough is enough. Before we get too deep in this episode, here's a very quick disclaimer. Don't use this podcast as an excuse to quit your job or make a major decision without proper research, discussing it with a significant other, or actually thinking about it. Okay, with that out the way, let's start talking about it. So, my current job right now requires me to perform manual labor and driving that I don't want to do. To be honest, say I had to drive to New Jersey, 27 miles each way, going and back took a little bit over 4 hours. And I have a bad knee, so manual labor and the driving don't add up much to good knees. So driving, stop and go traffic, my knee starts hurting. So sometimes I have to say no. Prime example will be last week, I think, when I wrote this, it was snowing and I had to lift a couple hundred pounds of merchandise up a couple flights of stairs. That's a recipe for disaster, but like I said, it was snowing and raining. This would make any normal person quit. Heck, even one of my coworkers said they felt like quitting because of how crazy the weather was that day. The wind was crazy, snow. I'm not talking about what happened yesterday to me recording this to Northeastern. Talk about before that. And at the end of the crazy day, after doing all that, I was asked to come in early. And you know what my answer was? No. I could have come in early, but why should I? Mind you, I have to come in early tomorrow because it's going to be nobody there, so I have to come in. But when I don't have to, and you're asking me to do it, after I just killed myself, I'm not going to kill myself again. Mind you, I didn't take lunch breaks for the past 2 days. Okay? I'm not a bad employee, but sometimes you have to put your foot down because I didn't take lunch for the past 2 days and I was working, killing myself doing manual labor. Like I said, I'm not going to complain. I'll do it. But you can't just sit there all the time and just take it. And you know what the answer was? There wasn't no argument. It was just, okay. So that's the whole thing. Most of us are afraid to hear the word no. That's a 2-letter word. I know it stings, but it's temporary. If you don't speak up, no one will. But if you do want to speak up, make sure the pros outweigh the cons. What do I mean? You say something and there's no pros by you saying it. You tell somebody they're ugly. There's only cons, they can punch you in the face, you know? That's a bad way to speak up. But Josh, why should I speak up if no one else does? Well, why you follow everybody else? Then your mother ever tell you, oh, so if everybody else jumps off the bridge, would you? If you live in New York City like I do, you've seen posters that say if you see something, say something. Just because no one else is talking up doesn't mean you shouldn't. Don't always follow her. If you feel you're being mistreated, then speak up. But wait, don't speak up if you're in the wrong. Confusing, right? You have to look at the situation from the other person's perspective. Put yourself in their shoes, like they always say. Are you actually being asked to do more than what is required from your job, relationship, business venture, or whatever it is? After answering that question now, ask yourself if you're being compensated for what you're doing. This extra work. And by the way, I'm using air quotes for work. If you're being compensated for this extra work, don't complain. You're salaried and maybe 4 days out of 5 days, you work an hour or two actual work. Then don't complain about the fifth day you're actually working 5, 6 hours. If you're getting paid overtime, don't complain unless you're doing something that's outside your job description. Prime example. I have customers tip me because I'll go above and beyond and do things outside my job description. I don't have to do it, so I do it anyway. And they know this, so they don't have to tip, but they in turn do. But, Josh, I don't want to be disrespectful, this and that. I'm scared to talk to my manager. What do I do? Well, it depends on the company you work for. If they have an open door policy, that means you can talk to the manager's boss, the district. All right. So let's talk about regular retail. I've worked retail for years. Regular retail, you have employee, normal employee, then you have a supervisor above the employee, then sometimes an assistant manager, then the store manager. Above the store manager, you have a district manager, then a regional manager, or area manager, then the regional manager, stuff like that. So if you have a problem with someone, you go to your supervisor. If the supervisor doesn't help, you can go to an AM or store manager. If you don't feel like they handled it well, you can go to the district manager. One of my old jobs, I had that, and it turned out, it bit me in the butt. Open door policy doesn't mean open door policy, and I got burned before for it. Went for a position, I didn't tell my store manager about it. For a position, I applied, I interviewed, and they killed it. Aced the interview, aced actually working in the store that day. I aced all that, so they loved me, but the manager asked it. Why? Because I didn't feel like I had to tell them because of open door policy, but guess what? Not everybody follows the directions of the company's guidelines. But Josh, we could talk to HR. We can. But we all know this stuff called the corporate ladder. It's politics and corporate politics. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. That's the saying. Because you can get so far by knowing no one, but you're not going to get the position because of somebody knowing someone else. Listen, it sounds bad to say that, but it's true. I've gotten most of my jobs through recommendations. I've gotten jobs on my own merit, but for one of my jobs on the Fortune 500 company for 5 years almost, I was able to get in because I knew someone. Then in one of my other jobs, two of my other jobs, work as a store manager, I got in because of someone I knew. And that carried over to the next job. It's because who I knew. What I knew regarding to knowledge was exceptional, but just that alone was enough to land me certain positions because it's all about politics. And that's why you have to be careful when talking up. Because I've seen things happen and I've spoken up, and because of the corporate politics, the domino effect happened and I was no longer in that company. But you have to make sure that you're taken care of. Same thing, workers' comp. You get injured on the job, you have to speak up. Don't say, oh no, I don't want to say anything because I don't want the other people, I don't want them to have more work. Why? If it was them in your shoes, once they get injured, they call up the hotline, let them know, go home. You understand? Oh, man, I can't work that day, but this person, I don't want to call out. I'm sick, I don't want to call out because how would this person feel? Don't have that mentality. Talk up. You have to do what you have to do. Okay? Why would you worry about everybody else if they're not worrying about yourself? I don't like the way this person's talking to this person. Talk to them. If they say something to you and you feel offended, talk up. It's 2018. You have to be heard. If you watch South Park, there's a character in there called PC Principal. politically correct. It talks up for everyone to make sure everything's PC. And it might sound like obnoxious to bring up a South Park character, but it brings up a good point. If he sees something, he says something. You don't have to be a snitch. You don't have to think of it that way. But if you're being overworked, tell them. Have a sit down. You have to say in front of everybody. You can just talk to him on the side and say, hey, I understand we're short staffed, this and that. But honestly, you're overworking me. I'm already doing this, and that. And I'm only supposed to be doing this and this. Not that, but I'm still doing it. And I'm a team player and everything, but I can't keep doing that unless you're going to help me do that. You understand? That's basically what this is about. Just talk when the time is right. There may never be that right time, but you have to make the time to talk to whoever it is. You're in a relationship and you feel like your partner is becoming distant. Before you go out and start cheating or doing whatever, talk to him. Sit down and talk. That's why I have couple counseling. I know it's expensive from what I've seen. I've never been to one. But the whole thing is, it's all about talking. You have to let the other person know because they might not even know that they're doing this or that to you. They might not know that they're overworking you or hurting you, making you feel a certain type of way. Because we do things subconsciously that we have no control over. Body language, stuff like that. It's like people tell people you have a resting bitch face because we do it naturally. It's natural. It's not like they're trying to look that way. It's just natural to them. That's why you have to use the most important thing, which is the power of communication. And that's all it takes, talking. So that basically wraps up this episode. I've had no script for any of that, really, other than the first 5 minutes, if that. So, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, comment in front of YouTube, be part of the notification squad. It's a big thing. Follow us at Twitter, Books by Josh R. At Books by Josh. Facebook at Books by Josh R. Patreon, if you want to become a patron, at patreon.com/Books by Josh. You want a copy of my book, Amazon. Private Eye, The First Adventure of Jason Street. You want a signed copy? My site, booksbyjosh.com. If anything, guys, I'll see you guys in the next episode. I have a great topic for that one. Later.